Stefano. Welcome, everyone, to Beyond Beeple. And as Stefano mentioned, this is a session regarding the democratization of art through Web3. My name is Milyae Park, and I will be your moderator for the event. Now, I can see already that our attendees have had the chance to explore the room, engage with others, and I even noticed a few interesting metaverse dance moves, so we're very excited about this. But beyond this, we have an exciting agenda for today, including hearing from our venerated panel, who are all well-versed in the intersection of Web3 and art. And afterwards, we will have a surprise from Stefano at the end of this session. So I encourage you all to stay on at the end to experience this delight. Now, before I say a few more words, I would like to invite the panel to take turns introducing themselves. May I ask that Riccardo start with his introduction, followed in succession by Rahim, then Jessica, and then Simon. Riccardo, take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Riccardo. I'm the founder of the Crypto Gallery. I started my business managing artists into fine art and galleries, and since the start we saw a big problem, and the problem was that the big institutions were taking the majority of the cut of the artist, and the artist would not be able to survive. So we created this gallery and this management team in order to promote artists, help them through their journey, create strategy, and enable them to be creative and not worry about everything else. That's me. Thank you.
Riccardo. Riccardo, just get away.
Yeah, sure. Hello everyone. It's really nice meeting you here. This is my first experiences like this in talking to you here. No, this is my so I'm the founder and director of NFT Biennial. So me and my team and like a lot of different actors in that tree, we are organizing the first NFT Biennial, and it's focused on art. We will be launching in January and February. We have physical places in 10 countries, including Istanbul, London, Paris, like Venice, and New York, and etc. And we will have metaverse galleries, and we will be hosting lots of different artists. We have 10 people in the curatorial team, and we together different art DAOs, art communities, art institutions together. And hopefully we're turning into a DAO after the first edition, and it will be the first decentralized art biennial. So I think that's it for now.
Thank you, Rahim. Jessica, may I ask you to introduce yourself? And then Simon, please feel free to go straight away after Jessica.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Jessica. My artist name is Ava. And yeah, I'm a 3D visual artist from Germany, and I'm focusing on abstract and surreal art. But I'm also doing some digital fashion together with Mason Dao. And I'm also working with the Crypto Gallery already. And yeah, I studied virtual design for, I think, 5 years. And now I'm working independent design on different projects. 5 years. And also doing music videos. Yeah.
Yes, and I love these music videos that Jessica are creating because I love drum and bass and the music video for drum and bass music. It's just awesome. But yeah, my name is Simon. I'm a founder of Maison DAO and Maison Labs, who's building Edge City, a metaverse platform for fashion and art. We also have the collective of artists that are launching their own collections of digital fashion. But also we're gonna launch Maison DAO collections as decentralized brands. I'm happy to be here today, and obviously Stefano is also a proud member of Maison DAO, and I'm happy to be a proud member of this project.
Thank you all. Before we pose a few questions to this impressive panel, I'd like to start with a bit of a preamble.
It would be an understatement to say that we are living in unprecedented times. In our world, there is both beauty and inelegance all around, each of which fuels artistic endeavor. Our world is also characterized by a pace of technology that is accelerating at speed, and the confluence of all of these things makes for interesting times. Now, on technology, the history of art from Paleolithic times to today has seen many technological
advances, and written art evolved. The creation of the photo camera launched an entirely new
artistic genre. The record player and other recording devices set the foundation for the way we now more innovatively consume sound. Perhaps even more on topic, web versions 1.0 and 2.0
changed the way that we create, view,
and commercialize art. And now we are at a associated technologies from Web3 come the benefits of new products, new experiences, and new business models. And of course, new opportunities to engage with and to give more access to more people. Democratization, if you will. Yet with all of this also come compelling questions about the responsibilities that we have to ensure that these benefits create better, not worse equality and inclusion, of course, in our society. An example of such questions, even if not art-related, is as follows. The artificial intelligence that powers and drives recruiting and hiring follows. Or health insurance and home financing decisions. Do they hold certain socioeconomic or other diversity
biases rather. NFTs using
one of the more energy intensive methods reconcile technological advancement with the good of the planet and our people.
And still, one could ask,
what does democratization of anything mean? Or a collaborator, or collector, or critic. I cannot speak to whether the Medicis were
thinking about democratization when they commissioned Michelangelo
to paint the Last
Judgment in the Sistine Chapel.
However, I can help give you a glimpse of what the present and the future may hold
in the democratization of art by turning this conversation over to our esteemed panelists, which I will do now.
So panelists, if you are ready, I would like to start by asking you all the first question, which is, what is your definition of art? Simone, may we start with you to answer that question?
Sure. For me, sort of like the simple understanding of art that I have, it is that it is a form of human creative expression.
May we start
right? So for me, that's a
with you?
simple thing. It's a way for us to express our inner self and project simple emotions to the world.
Excellent question. Thank you very much. Jessica and then Rahim, may I ask you to answer the question as well?
Yes, sure. For me, when I think about art and the definition of art, first thing that comes to my mind is emotion. So I think when a person is able to express himself in a visual way, it's I mean, with visual ways you have different tools like art or singing or drawing or also in poetry, but that leads to emotions of the viewer
Or of the listeners, I think
yeah, if you can, if you're able
to express your thoughts and visions, and someone
has some emotions with it, if that what you want to express, then this is for me art.
I think I'm gonna go on now.
Rahim, thank you. Yes, Rahim.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I can put a definition. It's more like there is non-definition that it makes me very excited. More, it can be like anything, any expression or anything ready-made, even which with any with contemporary art and everything, and rather than art, actually the artist, what they say, um, this is the art I make. Like it's that artist puts the idea of art. So it's not what is art, but like what artist makes for me. Used to say I can tell. What is art?
Thank you, Rahim. And finally, Riccardo, may I ask you what your vision of definition of art is?
Of course, thank you. Thank you for asking. Also, because I think it's very important to understand that everybody has a different opinion of what art is and how they feel about it.
that
It's incredible. If we think people 10 years ago, they would never imagine that something like this could happen. So yeah, to me, art is an experience.
Fantastic, thank you. Those were all excellent and very provocative definitions of art. So I suppose the next question to be asked is what you, as panelists, think, or do you think that art should be democratized? And if so, what does that actually mean? And Jessica, may I turn to you to ask the question first, and then Riccardo, perhaps you can follow up straight afterwards. You to ask.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I think yes, art should be democratized. Yes. What I understand by this is that
everyone has a voice and the power to make a difference. And in the art world, it means that the artist no longer depends, for example, on artist houses to be curated and showcased. So
now we're able to showcase ourselves and so that the artist has so the art democratization, oh my god, this word is so hard to say, is given back
the power of the creator, I guess. So yes, I think art should be
democratized.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jessica, and I just want to add that I think the
only way to democratize art, but in general, every discipline is to give the tools to the people to be able to express themselves, and that's the way that in which we can democratize art.
Thank you. Jessica,
You're right. Democratization is a very difficult word to say.
even harder to achieve, perhaps.
Yeah.
Rahim, Rahim, may we hear your views on what democratization means?
Whether you think it should even be democratized.
And then
Perhaps, Simone, if you could follow up straight after that.
That would be helpful. I think that's going to make more impact because people now it's very easy with pen, you even get a computer or even go pen library, you write whatever, get a how to distribute, how do people see that art. So right, conventional art, there is the gallery system, museums, whatever, and it's gonna it's pretty hard to get in. There are a lot of poor and cheap. And in the NFT ecosystem, I would say it started very being democratized. In the NFT, it was very very open, but now is the market very full and it's very hard to distribute to art, and it's very hard for artists to market themselves. And I think we need to find better ways how the people can reach the other people, other ways to how viewers, visitors. Um, yeah, I think we need to find different ways to distribute, and there are like DAOs. I think we can different ways in Web3 to do. Hope we can do better in the space. Yes.
Thank you, Rahim. And Simone, do you have any
Yes.
different views on the definition of democratization?
I'm say different views, but just to complement the previous speakers, I think for us, in the project we are doing, and in the projects we are trying to do partnerships with, right? Like so we have the partnerships projects and our project. We think in our values that it's really important to democratize access to not only to the tools, right, themselves, but also to events, for example, right? So the communities can join to events on a high scale. And I think metaverse is one of these things that can actually help achieve that, right? Because in a real thing, metaverse, you can have event that can have 50, 100 people to make it real world. But in a metaverse, if we find the good ways to combine democratization, blockchain, like we have metaverse, then we can really accomplish great ways of connections between people around the world. And that's something that I'm really excited about, that we can do the work globally in the same time.
Thank you so much, Simone. It's interesting. I think there are a number of discussions about tools, which we'll talk about in a minute, and perhaps in this conversation. But Rahim, you had spoken about some barriers with respect to what might get in the way of this democratization. May I ask the panel actually to elaborate on what you think the barriers are to achieving democratization, and how we can actually overcome some of these barriers? Shall I start with Jessica first? Actually,
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think the barriers are, for me, for example, it was because you have you need to do everything on your own then, because when you have like an artist house, they will get you maybe some buyers or something, and when you're when you're doing it alone, you need to achieve an audience. You need to take care of your you have a big responsibility for your art, and to build a community, and to be seen and so I think this could be a barrier to do it all alone.
And Riccardo, in your view, what are the barriers to achieving democratization? And more importantly, how do we overcome such barriers?
To me, it's very clear also from what Jessica says, but many artists say, unfortunately, the same thing. And the problem is that there are no safe spaces for artists to be able to grow, to understand how they can improve their processes, how to find people that can help them. For example, as I was saying, creating a community, maintaining a community, and the people are there. They want to be part of projects, but obviously for smaller artists it's difficult to find this kind of people. Also because this kind of people are attracted by his projects with this kind of millions. Or also because that they unexplainably explode because whales pump and dump them. But so we have this mirage of being able to make millions from projects, but at the end, what I feel that artists need and projects in the Web3 community need are safe spaces to grow their business, to grow, need and develop, for example, to grow to artistic journey.
Thank you for that. And Simone, and then Rahim, please.
So I think, yeah, the barriers that are there for the artists are usually also regarding the financial situation, and you mentioned earlier inclusion. If we think about this globally, obviously in developing countries and in poorer countries, they have much lower amount of money that are available to them overall, and then they have to compete on the same markets with rest of the world, yeah, with rest of the artists globally. So I think one of the things that are crucial to improve the situation, overcome this barrier, is the overall work for inclusion, right? Internet inclusion, so everybody has the internet access to be able to access the tools, the cloud, because yeah, the difficulties to get hardware are obvious, but if it's possible to get high internet connections and access to difficulties, then much more people can get access to the art. So I think yes, there are barriers, but there are also ways to overcome it, and I think the outlook is bright right now.
Very good, thank you. And Rahim, you had mentioned earlier that gatekeepers was certainly one of the challenges and barriers. Are there others that you can think of? And more importantly, how do we overcome these barriers?
There are several ways I can think of. So in, let's say, in the commercial art world or art society, there are funds, there are presidencies, like the museums funding the projects without expectations, without economical expectations. I think so. The Web3 gets its power from communities. So I think we need to build those kind of structure to fund the parties, to fund the artists, to create art residencies, to give this freedom to artists to create. And art, like, we should create a way to give the communities as well to market them and different structures and decentralized ways. I think that's gonna be one of the solutions. We need to take a step ways together. I think that's
Thank you for that, Rahim. It's as though you might be reading off of my note sheet because you seem to have a perfect segue into my next question each time you speak. So when we talk about some of these barriers, certainly the world of Web3 can contribute to the democratization of art. But I would ask the panel to perhaps speak a bit about other ways that we haven't mentioned yet that we think that Web3 can contribute to such democratization. So can I turn back to we think first to answer that question?
Yeah.
Sure, obviously. So how Web3 can sure, obviously call over how barrier Web3. I think the whole concept of from the blockchain identity, right? The whole block-based identity profiles, block, and this situation can actually help overcome one of the barriers I mentioned before in developing countries, where many people have very very complicated access to the official government IDs, official documentation. But thanks to the Web3 Pro IDs, they could get access to some of the services thanks to were not available to them before.
Very much. And Riccardo, do you have any further thoughts on how Web3 can contribute to democratization of art?
Absolutely. Develop. I think this space artistic example, absolutely, platforms like this, or for example, we were talking before, platform is to give artists a free space to display their art, to create their art, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So their art, I think there's many applications. And
excellent, thank you. And Jessica, any further thoughts on your end?
First of all, I really agree with Riccardo and Simon. For me, I experienced that, and this is what Web3 is helping to for the democratization, is that everyone is welcome. So I just started with NFTs 1.5 years ago, and everyone is welcoming you. It doesn't matter which religion you are or what nationality you are, and I think this is the best part of it. So everyone can come and do art. Yeah.
And thank you. Rahim, I know you already stressed this earlier, but is there anything further you'd like to add?
I think I'm agreeing with all other participants, and I don't have anything to add more.
Very good. I thought perhaps you're going to ask
My next question for me, but
No.
on that topic,
the world of Web3
is still quite
foreign to many, perhaps even to some of our attendees
today. What do you think we need to be doing in order to draw more people into Web3 in terms of understanding, and perhaps even having to draw them away from Web2? I would love to hear your thoughts on what we can do to encourage that sort of knowledge and participation. So may I start with you, Riccardo, on your thoughts? Encourage that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest problem now, especially for art, is that the main target for fine arts are people that don't have a clue how to interact with the smart contracts, how to interact with crypto. So I think one of the biggest smart contracts should be the inclusion of card payments and these kind of things. And I think is the inclusion is important, art pay, be able to educate artists, but also the clientele, the people that are here today, that this is just the start. People are starting to build today. We add the tools, just the start to build more. And that's my opinion. Give them.
Yeah, very good opinion. Thank you very much. And Simon, any thoughts on your end on what we can do to draw into Web3?
I think actually right now
were not for the available. For me, I most important actually think is education for the how the people who the most important, and how people who are actually building the projects can participate in this. And in our case, we are just participating and in as Maison DAO, and in project by Zalando and Maison DAO in community project players, where they will be actually teaching 10 fashion designers about actually Web3, about circling and about sustainability.
So I think this kind of project where artists and designers can directly get the knowledge from the experts, can in a free way and get grants for the time being.
I think it's it's one of the very good ways to help with this.
May I follow up on that and on that comment for a moment, Simon, not to put you in the hot seat, but all of these events sound incredibly interesting. I feel like I want to attend one of them, but how do we get to do that on a more pervasive basis? Otherwise, we could stand the risk of doing it sort of one person at a time and perhaps not moving at the pace of technology.
And I think it's more like this, and that's what Web3 is also encouraging. I think
it's for people to more and have ownership of also their careers and work to thus ownership leader over the community. And I think one of these ways, unfortunately, going forward, it is the groundwork. In Poland, we have this belief also that sometimes you really have to do the groundwork first. Have this what needs to happen right now. You have sometimes you read programs on ground that can needs to happen, grow into this leadership positions, and then create their own programs, their own academies, their own Web3 mentorship programs, and then at one moment we will reach this critical mass. And obviously, separately, we can focus how to promote it and how to make it accessible for the regular user, regular collector, fan who wants to participate as well.
Thank you for that, Simon. And Rahim, may we have your views as well? And then Jessica, please feel free to follow up directly after Rahim. Your views.
Yes, sure. I'm
as well.
totally agreeing with.
Please feel free.
The education, I think, is the key, and of course, we really need a mental to change that. Like, if we can tell people, if we can like, kind of educate. I don't want to use that word, but like if we can decision makers, like so use that word. In that now, we this mentality to make happening, but it's pretty hard. Like in that, people don't want to decide. The change is not still. There is this the mentality of kind of a working class, I would say. Maybe that needs to change, and then it's gonna be the big way. Also, I think it's very important to go to people. Metaverse is great. Also, we need to do more like physical and digital experiences, exhibitions, all digital like experience doing like educations and kind of like workshops. Exactly, I think that these are great tools. Workshop, I think mentality. Yeah, tools.
Yeah, perfect. I think you summed up it already really good. I also think that we need to connect already. I say world with Web3 like the and some just that the people have a connection, because they think Web3 is maybe something unreal, but we are here in the space now and we're having this conversation, and this is real. We just need to connect us a little more by doing a set events and inform people so that they can connect more with Web3, I guess.
I'd have to agree with you, Jessica, and with all of the panelists. It is a challenge, any new concept, getting it sort of into society. Jessica, pervasive with the panelists. But we've spoken a lot about art and democratization. If you had to think about other art outside of the immediate art world,
opinion,
what parallels other sectors, these sectors, in how they democratize well, or perhaps they don't as well, and what can the art world learn? Well, Simone, if we can start with you again, any thoughts around this? Simone,
excuse me, I had some
connection breakdown for the last 1 minute, and you repeat
Start with you.
for
Any
the last?
thoughts? Yes, of course. Even in our metaverse, we have technical problems occasionally. So I said that we had spoken quite a bit about democratization of art. But if you had to look to sectors outside of the art world, what parallels can you draw from these sectors in how they either democratize, what parallels or perhaps how they don't democratize
well? And therefore, what can the art world learn from this?
For me, for example, when I because I started in blockchain around 5 years ago, for example, one of the first use cases that I thought are relevant to democratization of access to something is actually real estate market, right? Thanks to Web3 tools, and blockchain, right? We could actually democratize tools to home ownership. Obviously, it is fractional ownership, but it's a home. Many people might be better. Obviously, it is anything, and they could actually participate in the stuff that previously it was only entitled for people who can have enough money to buy a full like full building, full up to or whatever piece of real estate. But I think in this way, apartment also think whatever brands. That was exactly my second use case. This in terms of brands, we can also try to demo my second size. Fashion brands, for example, right, or other brands. They don't have to be fashion brands at all. For me, it's art, obviously, and there could be other industries that which are this way through tokenization. So I think Web3 definitely have big potential to help in many industries, not just art. Definitely.
And thank you for connecting some of those dots for us. And indeed, the interesting parallel that you drew on real estate, which is, of course, the physical world that everyone on this planet understands, and trying to get that closer to our virtual world is all of our aims. Rahim, what are your thoughts on other sectors, what we can learn from them? And then if I can ask Riccardo and then Jessica to go straight afterwards to hear your views as well.
I don't have that much experience actually. Other sectors also in blockchain, much experience. I kind of give examples that we are working on some business models to make it more sustainable for the biennial as well, and for the other exhibitions. Like the gaming play to earn and or play and earn system. It's kind of it creates different gaming ways to earn and
Views as well.
income for creators, creates different income for players, and makes it more democratized, I think. Also, we are adapting that in our exhibitions, that like how can we create more utilities basically for the artists, placing them into great games and making art exhibitions, gamifying the art exhibitions. We are actually doing that now with one of the gamifying the art forms. I think that might be an example. I just gave that because I don't have that much about the other sectors. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey,
Very,
Have
let's say,
that much knowledge.
answers. I think we can draw a parallel with the I don't know. I think with the steel industry because yeah, the main difference and the most important thing because traceability, and that's what block is teaching us. It's important. Doesn't matter if I'm tracing a product tomorrow or today. Us is that it's traced, and this product mine. I produced it. When was it produced? And this why was it produced for? And that's what the steel is doing really well. Why was it for? And yeah, make accountable everybody in their line in their line of production, and they're able to trace the material from raw to the final product.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I don't really have something to add here because I'm not don't expert in the other sectors actually. Yeah, so I just leave it.
Very, very, very good.
The
That's quite
material from
good. I see we're nearing the end of our session. So I have one final question for each of our panelists, which I would ask you to summarize in one statement for each. And that question is what I would ask you to one takeaway that you wish for this audience to know. And that could either be a reinforcement of something we've already discussed or a new thought. So in rapid succession, first, can we start with Rahim? What is the one thing you want to leave this audience with?
Thank you. I just want to say, like, supporting the creators and building it, just make. I think I just want to say, like, supporting the creators and.
First, can we start with you? Rick is the one, and then Jessica leave this audience.
That's a really difficult one, but I would go with technology empowers people.
Perfect. Yeah, my takeaway would be anyone who's interested in like being an independent artist should definitely go into the web place, being start getting in touch with the community because the community is great.
And last but not least, Simone, what's the one takeaway you wish for this audience to know?
We have yes, our potential to help up many. What Jessica said that I believe power power of what Jessica
Getting in touch.
I believe with technology. That's exactly what is great and what is being unleashed technology now. So yes, get involved. What is get in with people now. So things because yeah, it seems we are on a right path.
Well, thank you all for your fresh and frank perspectives on the democratization of art via web. I was struck by a number of things that you'd all said on the democracy. The first is in your definitions of art and democratization. There was a very human element to what you had said, and that was around things like self-expression and the fact that art covers so many different things. But of course, we have to give everyone a voice and tools and communities to be able to enable to give everyone. We talk about the barriers around democratization, and they are no different than the barriers of democratization of other things as well, whether it be in finance or medicine or other things. But there is hope, and we know that Web3 can provide some of that hope, even with the challenges that we might be facing. Now, provide some of my favorite pundits. Oscar Wilde once said that life imitates art. Though he could never have imagined a world where the two converge in the metaverse, let us indeed hope that art paves the way to a more democratic society, and that life quickly follows, paves the way. So this concludes our panel session on Beyond People. Yes, please. I was going to say, please, I invite you all to conclude our panelists Beyond. Absolutely marvelous. Please, I was going to put them in difficult positions for our, and I would say,
thank you, Milyae.
Turn the session over to
Great.
Steph.